Hi, welcome to my video on graphing a sine curve using the mapping rule. Graph each using the mapping rule. Notice this is a sine, and a sine graph is a sideways S. So we'll go with the mapping rule is theta and y, and notice that this is minus 180, so this is going to be theta plus 180 because it's the opposite, and the y value and for this function is 3y plus 1. So we go with theta and y, so this is on y equals sine theta. This is the basic one, and again we have a 0, 90, 180, 270, 360, and the sine of 0 is 0, sine of 90 is 1, sine of 180 is 0, the sine of 270 is negative 1, sine of 360 is a 0. So we're mapping that to theta plus 180 and 3y plus 1. So we take the 0, sub it in, we get a 180. Put 90 in, 90 plus 180 is 270. And we put 180 in, 180 plus 180 is 360. Notice it's going up by 90. So 270 and 180 is 450. So if you add 90 on, you get 450. Add 90 on, you get 540. Or 300 plus 180 is 540. Now we'll sub in the y value, 0 into here. 3 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. Put a 1 in. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. And put a 0 in, which we did up here, so we automatically will get a 1. Put a 0 in, we'll get a 1. So now let's do it the negative one. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3 plus 2. Negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. So negative 3 plus 1 is a negative 2. Now let's graph this. So we have 360. So we have halfway between there is a 180. So, and that's a 90. So this is 90. That's 270. And this is 450. This is 540, and etc., etc. So we just keep on going, but we need to only go to 540. So 180 gives me a 1. So 180 gives me a 1. 270 gives me a 4. 270 gives me a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 360 is back to 1 again. 360 is a 1. 450 is negative 2, so 450 is negative 2. And 540 is a 1. 540, which is here, is a 1. So, when you draw this curve, so this is going from 180 to 540, so 180, 540 difference is 360 degree is the period of this function. Notice from here to here is a sideways S. Starts off at 180, goes to 540, so the period of this function is 360. It's just, as you can see, it's just, you can see it's moved up. It's stretched by 3, and it's the period is moved horizontally 180 degrees to the right, which is the opposite of minus 180. So that's using the mapping rule. Let's do another one for sine. Y equals 4 times sine of a half theta. And so this is theta, this is y. So theta is half here, so that's going to be 2 theta. And the y is 4, negative 4 times y. So this is for y equals sine theta. So this is theta and sine theta. 0, 90, 180, 270, 360. So the sine of 0 is 0, sine of 90 is 1, sine of 180 is 0, sine of 270 is negative 1, sine of 360 is 0. So the mapping rule has 2 theta, and it has a negative 4y. So 0 doubled is just 0, 90 doubled is 180, 180 doubled is 360, 270 doubled is 540, and 360 doubled is 720. Now we got a negative 4 times y, 0, negative 4 times 0 is 0, negative 4 times 1 is negative 4, and we got a 0, so we get 0 again, and the 0 gives me a 0, 0 gives me a 0, and just 0, so let's do the negative 1. Negative 4 times negative 1 is 4. So let's graph. We have 0, 180, 360. So we got this is 180. 360 in the middle is 540. And we have a 720. So 0 gives me a 0. 180 gives me a negative 4. 180 is, let's mark this off. I neglected to mark it off here. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Forgot to put the bottom down. So 180 is negative 4. 360 is a 0. 360 is a 0. 540 is 4. 540 is 4. And 720 is a 0. 720 is a 0. So, notice again, we have a sideways S. There it is. And again, you notice this time is going downward. It's reflected because of the negative, and the height is 4 times higher, and the period is from 0 to 720, so the period is 720 degrees. Okay, let's have a look at one more. Y equals a half sine 2 times theta plus pi over 2 minus 1. So we have a theta and a y. So the mapping rule is theta is a half theta minus pi over 2. We get reciprocal of 2, which is a half, and the opposite of pi over 2, negative pi over 2. And the y is a half times y minus 1. And again, we go y equals sine theta. Notice this time, but I'll fill this out first. This is theta. This is sine theta to y. So 0, 90, 180, 270, 360. And sine of 0 is 0, sine of 90 is 1, 180 is 0, 270 is negative 1, 360 is 0. Now, even though I have radians here, pi over 2 is 180 over 2, which is 90. So what I'm going to do is work it out in terms of degrees first, and we'll work it out. So this is a half theta minus pi over 2 is minus 90. And this is a half y minus 1. So I'm going to work it out in the degrees first because I find that easier. Put a 0 in. Half of 0 is 0. Minus 90 is a minus 90. Put a 90 in. Half of 90 is 45. 45 minus 90 is negative 45. 180. Half of 180 is 90. 90 minus 90 is 0. A half of 7 or 270 is 135. Subtract 90 is 45. And a half of 360 is 180. 180 minus 90 is 90. Notice that they're going up by 45. That's another, what you get us started. You can see a pattern. Let's put 0 in for y, and we get a half of 0 is 0 minus 1. Put a 1 in for y, we get a half minus 1, which is a negative a half. Put 0 in, okay, 0 in for y, we get negative 1. Put 0 in, we get negative 1. So you got 3 automatically worked out. Put a negative 1 in. A half times negative 1 is negative a half, minus 1 is negative 1.5. So now I got it worked out in degrees. So if I want, I can convert my, this is a half y minus 1. I could put that right alongside. So I have same values up above. They're there. So 90, if I want radians, 90 is pi over 2, so it's a negative pi over 2. 45 is pi over 4. Negative 0. 45 is pi over 4. 90 is pi over 2. So if I want it in radians, so I work it out in degrees, convert my radians. Now I can put my radians in. So it's in 45, so this is negative pi over 2, negative pi over 4, 0, pi over 4, pi over 2. So at negative 90 I have a negative 1, which is right here. Negative 45 I have a negative a half. And at 0 I have a negative 1. At 45 I have a negative 1.5. And at 90 I have a negative 1. So and again, notice the period is from a negative 90 to a 90, so the period is 180. More discussion on this graph will come up later on different aspects of it, like amplitude, sinusoidal axis, phase shift, etc., but that'll be all done later. So if you want to convert to degrees, which is what I do, I use degrees first, and then I convert my degrees to radians and plot my radians. So that brings us to the end of this video. And again, if you like my video, click on the like button. If you're not a subscriber, click on the subscribe button if you wish. Visit my math website, www.mathfullyexplained.com, to find more information about me, my videos, and the content. That's the content is on my YouTube channel called Math Fully Explained. Thank you for viewing my video. Hope the video was of some help to you. Bye-bye.